Hello everyone, it's Jeff Stepien once again, and welcome to the studio. Now today what we're going to do is we're going to add some equalizer to our tracks. We're going to work with the EQ. I'm going to show you some of the different filters involved with the EQ and how you can use the EQ to manipulate sounds. So rather than wasting any more time, let's dig in. Okay, now with Logic Pro, there are many different options for different types of EQs that you may or may not want to use. A lot of them have different parameters. A lot of them can do different things because they're based on different technology. But the EQ that I'm going to use, which pretty much gives an example of how, you know, most of the EQs work, is the general channel EQ. Now, as you can see, each channel has the EQ option on the top, and this is the equalizer that box represents. Over here we have the gain. Basically, that would just raise the overall volume of the sound by a certain amount. Now, down here are the frequency bands, the gain amounts for each frequency band, and also the Q amount for each frequency. Now, what the Q is, the Q determines the range that frequency band is going to affect. The higher this number gets, the narrower the band. The lower the number gets, the wider the band. Okay, now the first parameter I'm going to explain is the master gain. And that's pretty basic. We're going to see exactly what that does right now. Now I'm going to display how when you manipulate this EQ and whatnot, how it could really change the sound and really totally create a different sound for the track that we are applying it to. And the example that I'm going to use is the piano track. Now there's the piano sound. All the master gain really does is raise the entire equalized sound by a certain amount or lowers it by a certain decibel amount. That's all the master gain does. Now we're going to look at the different type of filters and bands that we have with this EQ. Filter. Basically, it's called a high pass filter, which means everything above this frequency right here passes through the filter and is not affected. Anything below that frequency is either attenuated or totally silenced, and I'll display that. Everything to the left of that frequency is being silenced. All the low frequency sounds in this area are not sounding. You can't hear them anymore. And then down here at the end we have what's called a low pass filter, which means everything beneath the cutoff frequency goes through the filter. Anything above it is once again attenuated or silenced completely. Now watch as I move that. All the high frequency sounds are removed. So with those two filters alone, you could do a lot of different things. Now with the high shelving channel, basically what that does is that will increase everything from this channel to the next one and over to the end by a consistent amount. Like here we see how it increases that whole area, the complete area. The whole right side of the parameter is affected. Now dBs, that again is a gain. Basically you raise it up or you lower it. So the gain works the same for everything no matter what. It's an increase or decrease in decibels. Now the Q, this determines the range of the EQ. Now the Q, I have it set to a real low amount, so actually this is a very broad range that it's covering. as I increase this amount, the range gets narrower, and it affects a smaller area, as you could see. And then when you decrease it to a smaller amount, the area gets wider, and it kind of actually blends into the next bandwidth. And the low shelving would work the same way. Basically, as I increase the frequency, that determines, you know, how far along the frequency band we allow this filter to work. As I increase the dBs, it goes up. Decrease them, it goes down. And then with the Q, there I made it narrower. There I made it much wider. There I made it as narrow as it could be. So as you can see, once again, a lot of different options with what you could do there. This is a parametric parameter, which means it works just as a single band of a parametric EQ would work. Same thing with this one, same thing with this one, same thing with this one. These four in the middle are all parametric bands. Now basically I'm just going to use one parametric band as an example. You have the frequency amount, and once again you have the decibel amount and the Q amount. Now with the parametric band, it's only going to affect specific frequencies around the main frequency. Right here we have 500 as the main frequency. You'll see as I increase that or decrease that, that moves it along the frequency band. Also raises it, lowers it. Now the interesting thing is how the Q is affected. Okay, now the parametric band does not have the wide range of effect on frequencies as the shelving filters do. But what it does is it allows you to focus in on a specific frequency and the band of frequencies around that frequency. Now basically I have it set to the widest band here. That increases the decibels, decreases the decibels. Moves in frequency. Pretty similar to the other ones. Now with the Q, watch how this band becomes very, very narrow. Like you can focus right in on a specific frequency if you want to and do your best to eliminate it. Now watch as I decrease the dBs. Really only this specific band of frequencies is being reduced. So even though this is a very basic equalizer, there are many different ways you can use it and many different ways that you can manipulate the sound of the track that you have recorded to get the effect that you're looking for. Okay, so we just discussed the equalizer and how you can add that to your track to give it more sound in certain frequency ranges and or less depending on what you're trying to do. We discussed the high pass and low pass filters, also high shelving and low shelving filters, and we also discussed parametric bands. So you really got a nice taste of a lot of things that are involved with the EQ. Now, I mean, you could spend a lot of time on the EQ as well. All these subjects you could spend a lot of time on. So I mean, there are other things to cover when it comes to EQ, but I gave everybody a general idea of how you can use the equalizer to, you know, beef up your tracks or make them sound a little more punchy or whatever it is that you're looking to do with that. So the next video will be regarding more mixing, and until then, peace out, have a blessed day.